Listen, content marketing is the only marketing that's left. That was said by Seth Godin, the marketing guru himself. And if you're anything like me as an online business owner, marketing is really challenging for me. The most challenging component of it is staying consistent. There are so many content marketing strategies out there, but the only one that really matters is consistency, right? So how do we make sure that we are constantly on our marketing game, making sure our marketing machine is always in motion without taking over our entire work week? Well, my friends, if you are not new here, you probably know my answer. If you are new here, the answer is build a system that supports you so that you are not spending any brain power or capacity making sure you are remembering to market, right? So if you are not new here, you know my name is Nicole Mace, and if you are new, welcome. I'm a systems strategist and digital learning designer for coaches and consultants. I help coaches and consultants like you sustainably scale by developing really simple systems and by creating some dynamite digital learning experiences so that you can scale more with less to-dos. So in today's video, I'm going to show you my all-in-one content calendar and workflow process that I've developed in ClickUp to make sure that I am on my marketing game without having to take really any of my brain power, because I spend one day a week, I call it my Marketing Mondays, planning out my content for the week and making sure that it is aligned with my brand and putting all the pieces of the puzzle together and then scheduling that out. So I'm going to show you what this system looks like. And if you don't want to build it on your own, please know that I've made it available as a template. It's going to be linked in the description below, so you can grab it for yourself and plug it right into your ClickUp system so that you can start implementing more consistency in your marketing plans. Let's dive in. All right, let's dive into the content calendar and workflow ClickUp template. I have worked really hard to make sure that we have a complete content strategy worked out in one place so that you can streamline this entire process of content creation, making sure that it's on brand, having a pre-launch strategy built into the content creation. As Ashlyn from Ashlyn Writes always says, if you are not in launch mode, that means you are in pre-launch mode. So keeping the end in mind always when we're creating content. And as well as seeing two different calendars that goes into creating the content, right? So creation and then the publishing of the content, analytics of content that is going out. So you're tracking what is working and what's not, along with the entire workflow. So where I'm going to start is how to use this template. I usually, I have this page on every single template that is available in my shop, and it gives you instructions on what is this template about, how is it created, and what are my suggestions moving forward. So the video I'm creating right now will be linked here so that you have the video linked always inside of the actual template. Then I go into where the strategy really started and what kind of proven ideas have I used in the creation of this template. So Ashlyn from Ashlyn Writes is a really brilliant copywriter, and she also helps coaches and other service providers do launch strategy. So I am using her means of a content strategy around the 3 H's. So if you haven't heard this before, she talks about the pillar or the main weekly content. These are kind of the long form content, maybe a YouTube video or a blog, really where you are establishing your authority on the topic and serving and teaching, educating, and inspiring. So that is the H for hero. That's the hero content. That is the non-negotiable. So this is what is really going to convert those viewers when you are serving and teaching them something new and providing a main call to action from that piece of content. The next H is hub. So you want to make sure that your long form content can be found on something that you quote unquote own. So if all of your content is on a social platform, you don't own that content, and we know that the algorithm can change the viewership of that content at any given time. So it's important to be able to bring all of your hero or main content, pillar content, to one place. A lot of times this is like a blog format where maybe you're not writing out full on blog posts, but you can pull in that YouTube video or that video that you created into a blog post, write a little bit about it with a call to action right there. This is creating a hub for a viewer or an audience subscriber to find you and be able to binge your content all in one place. The third H is hygiene, which I think is a really funny word to use, but it totally makes sense when Ashley is explaining this is what you are posting daily in order to stay top of mind. So this is all the posting on social. So you are taking that hero content and then spidering it out, making sure, number one, it is posted in your hub. Number two, then you can start creating different pieces of hygiene or short form posts like a reel, a carousel post on a feed. Maybe going live can be a portion of that hygiene where you can point people to that main piece of content. So the hygiene is posting on socials, the short form content. So if you have this triple H content strategy, then you are hitting all places at once, but making sure that you have what is needed to convert people, to establish your authority, become the go-to person, and then staying top of mind. Okay, so I give one little reminder that I'll dive in here. So let's look at the actual template and workflow. I'm going to start with the statuses list. And so this list is also found in the board view if you prefer a board like a Kanban board view like Trello. The list here is by status. So here are the statuses in this workflow. So we have an idea bank. This can be like anything you're thinking of. Essentially, you can think of this as your notes area, just rattling off ideas. When you are reviewing like what you're going to start creating, it can move to the to-do list. And then when you decide that, yes, I'm going to work on this for this month and start batching that out, that is when you can move it to in queue. When you start writing out either the script for a video or if you're doing a long form, again, this is your pillar, your hero, your long form content that you're going to anchor the rest of your content on. So if you're recording a video, you want to write out the script. And then you can, or write out the blog post. If you're doing a video, you can move it to the record section, and then it can move into ready to edit, ready to schedule or upload, and then you can move it to the starting to web out the content. So that means you want to put it in your hub, which could be a blog post, and then what other social platforms are you going to create small pieces of content from that pillar content. Then you can say, all right, it's ready to be scheduled to go out, and then you can move it to done. When it's done, then done and publish can also be, they're done statuses. Publish means that it will not rank in an active status when you're looking at pulling up different filters or reports within ClickUp. So those are the differences there. Okay, so those are the statuses. Now let's go into the custom fields. So we have a due date right here, and the due date is really about creating the content itself. So the due dates can change. If you have a couple different people on your team, this due date can change based on whatever is next in kind of the to-do list or the subtask in creating that piece of content. So I'll show you that in a moment, but the due date can shift based on automations, and this has everything to do with creating the actual piece of content. The next custom field is a pillar. So we know that to have a brand, you need to be known for a couple specific things. Usually a brand that has 3 or 4 brand pillars that you're constantly talking about. So when someone thinks about your brand, they either think of pillar A, B, C, or D, sometimes 4. So 1, 2, 3, or 4. So right now I have this listed as pillar 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the one field that I would suggest you to go into. So you can click on it, go to edit field, and actually type in what is pillar 1. So for example, one of my pillars is ClickUp The next one is about systemizing your business. The next one could be about maybe HoneyBook. I talk about a lot about that. And the next one could be about, let's say, organizing your business. Okay, so those are my content pillars that when someone thinks about my brand, I want them to be thinking of these things. Okay, so that's just an example there. I'll save that, but make sure that the template will go back. This is again how you edit, and you can type anything you want here so that you're able to see, you know, how much are you talking about pillar 3? How much are you talking about pillar 4? This is also going to help you in creating content, so you can look back and say, you know, I haven't really talked about pillar 1 in a while. Okay, so those are your content pillars. The next is the type. There are 3 main types of content that needs to constantly go out. I remember them using the acronym PI. I heard another marketing strategist talk about the type of content you're putting out, and they said these words, but they weren't in this order. So I needed to arrange them in a way that I can remember them. So content type is PI. So it's either promotional, it's inspiring, or it's educational. So you can identify what type of pillar content is this going to be. Most of the time it's probably going to be educational, since it's a long form and you're going to be educating them on something, or maybe you're directly talking about one of your offers, or maybe you're telling a story of someone else who did really well with something that you taught them, or someone who's overcome something, right? So the next is the publish date. So when is this going to go out? This is going to be dedicated to your publish calendar so that you can actually see everything that's going out in one place. So what's the goal for this main content pillar to go out? A caption, this just be kind of top of mind. What caption should be going here for either the YouTube video or the social? You can start pulling different, you know, text components to be pulled into social posts. Next is the main CTA. You might have multiple CTAs when it comes to content, but I think it's very important to list the main one. So in a YouTube video, you can list multiple different links, but what is the main thing that you're going to talk about in that video? What's the call to action there? The easier you make it for someone to say, I'm going to get that one thing, the more likely they are to go get it. Next is being able to upload a file here. This is where you can upload either, you know, images or the actual video. You can attach a file to this section. So again, if you have other people on your team, they can get that file. Maybe it's the video thumbnail or the video itself. You can upload it here. Next is what month is this going out? And the reason why I have the month here is because I have a view so that you can actually see your content going out by month. So this is filtered to show you what's going out each month. So you can actually see that at a glance, your content per month or by month. The next custom field is your blog post. So this is, again, making sure that all of your hero content is pulled into one place that you technically, you know, own, quote unquote, so that you're not reliant just upon social platforms. So this is making sure that your main content lives on your website somewhere. This is just an easy check mark so that when you have that blog post built out, it is shown here. And then this is where you're going to identify when you have actually posted to those 1 or 2 main social platforms that you will always post on when you have new content. So this is when you can say, all right, I'm going to post on, you know, Instagram and Facebook. And of course you can actually name these labels by going to clicking on the content field name, edit field, and then again, just type in here what the actual main platform is and the secondary platform is. Okay, so again, this main task here, this is your hero content. This is your hub content. This is your hygiene content. Okay, so making sure that you are getting the most out of the long form content that you create and spidering it out. Okay, so now let me show you what is inside this task. So you'll see the custom fields that I just pointed out right here. These couple ones you will start to see when I go into the analytics section, because I want to give you a place to review your performance of different content so that you start to see the trends on what your audience really loves. And below here, we have 11 subtasks. So we want to make sure that every piece of content is addressing a problem or solution, right? So at least pointing that out, the problem awareness or solution awareness. Do a little background research on SEO keywords, which this all can be documented right here in the description box. So content gold, this is something else by Ashlyn Wright. She does state that if you really want some sticky content, then you want to make sure you have at least some data in it, a story for someone to hold on to, or a quote. So you can pull that in when you're going to create your content. Again, the long form content. You can write out your script, yes or no. And I made sure that the subtasks have a to do, right? So they're all on to do. And then you can just go to done. So you don't have to go through any of these, to do or done, right? So that's just an easy check mark there. Record, edit, creating the thumbnail, making sure you have a description, or if you're doing a podcast, then you're doing show notes. Main hub, so making sure that's posted to your main hub, a blog post possibly. Social platforms when they've been, created and scheduled to go out. And then the analytics, and it will be pulled into the analytics table based on a certain status. Okay, so let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so the next thing I'll go into, let me skip down here to analytics since I just mentioned it. So this is a table view, which means it's really meant for tracking data. And you'll see that there's a filter on here. So the only task that will be pulled into this view is when the status is set to published. So when it's set to publish, it will show up in this table. You'll see published here. It'll give you the date that it was actually published. And now you or a possible BA can go in and actually identify how did that post do. Okay, so maybe it did really well, maybe not so much. And then you can put in some insight. So this is a long form text. So any feedback from that content performance is helpful. And then the actual day that the content was reviewed. So an easy way to start tracking that, doing debrief on your content in order to make sure you do more of what's working, right? All right, so we already looked at the content by month. Let me go into the two calendars that I have here. The first one is the task calendar. This is having to do with any to do or due date for creation of the content. So these are the tasks that need to be done for the creation of the content. Okay, and so right now I have it set for showing the start and any due date. Now the next calendar here is the publish calendar. So this is going to show what is the goal for this content being published. So when you have a ton of content on here, you'll see this calendar fill up for when those things are being published. You can see I've done that by turning off the start and due date here, and then telling it to only track the publish date on this calendar. Okay. All right, so I think that is everything. Like I said, the board view is available here. It's going to show, I've made sure that it is showing a couple different of the key features on each card. So if you prefer to move it from left to right to show progress, it is available on the same exact template. Okay. All right, so I hope that this helps you kind of streamline the process, or at least get everything in your mind into one space. Right? Because our brain is for creating ideas, not holding on to them. And so this is going to help you map out what content is going out, your idea bank, what is the status of creating those things, be able to batch a lot of your content and then review it. And when you have someone added to your team, such as a VA or someone, they actually have a system to work with. Instead of having to ask you everything, you no longer become the bottleneck in this content process, but you have a system to hand over to them or to work with them on. Okay, so please let me know if you have any questions. Okay, so I hope that template walkthrough helped you understand the system that you need in place to make sure that your content marketing machine is always running. If you're looking for another ClickUp template all about growing your audience, then you definitely want to check out my podcast pitching process template. This is going to help make sure that you are always in the process of pitching to podcasts every quarter, because that's an incredibly powerful way to grow your audience and just something that you can keep in motion. So you can check out that video for details all about that template, and also grab that one to slide into your marketing deck in ClickUp. I hope you have a great rest of your day. It's all about turning that hustle into flow so that you can build your business exactly the way that you want to. I'll see you in the next video.